I'm here to do the Gecko upgrade. We're going to. I just received the parts, the new holder for the hot end here. This is going from just a one single point of. Turn this a little bit. The original one has just one belt location or hookup to lift it up and down. This new one, they've actually added two. So all of the previous owners have actually received these upgrades or are receiving these upgrades as we speak. Again, I was sent the Gecko from East 3D for free. This is an evaluation unit to do a full review on. I'm still going to be doing that. I wanted to wait till I got this to actually do the full review. Give me a second. I'm going to mute this while I pull this off because it's loud. And I'm back. You're probably happy that you did not have to hear that because in the mic that probably would have been excruciating. Oh, so one other little thing that I ended up picking up. It actually arrived last week. It's this little SD card reader. So it's got a micro SD end here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's show it here. It's got a little micro SD end, and then it's got a full SD card reader. So along with 3D printing, I like to pick up, obviously, expensive hobbies. I also am a photographer. That's the reason why I've got all the gear already for this. And I've got a ton of SD cards for my cameras. So I figure this is the easiest thing to do. Trying to reach up inside the Gecko to reach the micro SD card to swap it out every time was kind of a pain. I throw it in that slot, and then this sticks out. I just throw my SD cards on it. Makes it a lot easier to do it. So what I'm here to do today is to upgrade this to this new to the new version of the Gecko that is going to be a lot better for staying level across the board. So it comes with a new set of instructions right here. On the back, it tells you the list of all the pieces and parts. Let's see if I can get all the pieces and parts that are added on. It's actually a fairly extensive upgrade. This is not a cheap upgrade. And like I said, this was sent out to everybody, which is pretty cool of them. Because they really didn't have to do it. It is functional this way. It needs some help, but it is very functional. Adding the extra two really, I believe, is going to make this machine amazing. Even with two, I could get it pretty flat. I had some other issues with it. And I didn't push too hard to fix them, mainly because I knew this was coming and I'd have to tear it all apart anyways. So I didn't want to put too much time into that. So I also know that, he's been sending out units. Like if a couple of people had sold their units, and he actually is sending the upgrades to the new owners. And that's actually, again, I think that's pretty commendable for a manufacturer to do that. It shows that he's not only, I wouldn't consider a used product his customer, but he's taking care of his machines, and I believe stuff like that is how you turn people into customers. Whether they're people that have purchased the printer or people that are deciding whether to purchase one. When you see a company takes care of their machines and anybody that is using their machines to that degree, I think that's a good thing. It's something that I don't think you see as often from these Chinese manufacturers as I wish you would. And I personally think that's one of the things that kind of sets these East 3D Geckos apart from a lot of their competitors, is they've got a really good team out there that is helping to make these machines better, to help people along, to make sure they're installed right. And they really, in my experience, they go out of their way to do that. I think that's a good thing. So I'm actually going to bring this up on, I forgot, I haven't actually been looking on Twitch. So let me load up, I don't want that. So I'm going to load up my channel so I can watch myself. There we go. Oh, and I want to mute myself because that creates a horrible feedback loop. There we go. Plus, I just want to see if anybody's actually in the channel. Okay, so to do this, it looks like, yeah, we have to replace the sides because the old sides only have the location for one belt. We're going to have locations for two belts. So this is actually going to be a pretty extensive rebuild. I'm going to have to pretty much take a lot of the machine apart to pull this up. Oh yeah, I forgot. So you just saw me pulling this plastic piece off. I'm going to switch back because this shows me what I'm actually doing. So you saw me pull this out just a second ago. This is a brace that goes across the X to help stabilize it even further. I never experienced the issue of it, I guess, being a little wobbly or something. This fixes any of that. I never had a problem with that aspect of it. They send out all new hardware, so these pieces here are the new wheels. I'll be able to use the ones off the old. I could have used the ones off the old one just as easily, I suppose. It does look like I do need to pull the wheels themselves off, though. But the brackets are new, so any scratches that I put them in, I can rectify with new clean ones. So I'm trying to figure out what all the new pieces are. Like, I've got these pieces, and I honestly have no clue where these go offhand. Yeah. I'm guessing that these go, because there's two of them, I'm guessing these are the ones that replace the, what's it called? The belt tensioners right here, and that's pretty much what brings this up and down. I'm guessing, looking at these, that these are the equivalent of the belt tensioners for the second location. So that looks like how that goes. Okay, so that will go there. Sorry, I unpacked it, so you're seeing what's unpacked. You can kind of see the cardboard over here. This is what it came in. There's really not a lot there. I find, unboxing videos a little bit gratuitous, so I want to try to get. So I pulled it all out to begin with. I need to pull. Let's see here. These will need to come off. A little bit more of this plastic stuff. And I have to vacuum the floor after this with all of the white styrofoam that's all over the floor too. Didn't all come in white styrofoam. There's a little bit of white styrofoam in there. Let's see. Come on. It's always fun to try to get these covers off. I probably should wait to protect them, but it's probably going to be a little quicker just to get it all done at once, so it's all ready. So when I'm actually putting things together, it all is going together all at once. And as always, these videos will be up on, I'll put a link on my website. My website's makerfun3d.com. We cover 3D printers. My primary focus is on more inexpensive ones. I wouldn't mind getting more expensive ones, but I personally can't afford them. And so I tend to look at more inexpensive ones. This is right now the most expensive printer that I own. It's also the best printer I own, so you know, kind of goes hand in hand. But one of the big things I cover is 3D wargaming and printable terrain for that. And like right now, we've got Necromunda coming out soon. We've got Star Wars Legion. I've done several articles on Star Wars Legion terrain, showing places to find new pieces of terrain. I would say shout out Terrain for Print and Imperial Terrain. Those are probably the two biggest to create terrain that looks really good for Star Wars Legion. Sorry, I should have had this muted for this. And then Necromunda is coming out pretty soon too, and Warlayer has some pretty amazing stuff for that. And I've also got Worlds Overrun, and I'm thinking that might be pretty good too. So give me a second here. This is gonna be loud. There we go. Anyhow, this will be uploaded. So I'm live streaming through Twitch. I think I like Twitch as a live streaming platform. And then I'm going to move, I'll export these over to YouTube. My plan is to actually do a decent build video where I will take the Twitter ones, and I'll add some cards and stuff with links to, or that'll show different issues that I ran into so they can be rectified. Because it's just kind of easier to, you learn as you go along. You know, everybody's going to run into probably different issues and stuff, but I'm sure that people are going to run into a lot of the same issues too. So I'm hoping that my build videos will help people along and make things a little easier. Oh, so in looking at these instructions, I was going to point this out too. The holes were not drilled out as well as I would like. There's a couple little pieces left in, but they're good enough. They'll work. So this is one little piece. I wasn't exactly sure what it was. Looking here, if you look at this top piece here, it's a little red. And this is how far over you mount one of those. I don't know if it's both sides though. I'm trying to see. It doesn't actually show if it's the same if it's the same distance on both sides. I'll have to look into that, figure that one out. So probably need to just start taking this apart. Oh, let's see. I was really hoping this would be easy to do. Oh, actually. There we go. So that leaves that plugged in. Okay. I'm going to pull this painter's tape off so I can get to the wires. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we got all that. I'm gonna pull this off. They actually show it mounted to the back anyhow, so it's on the wrong side. Oh, these are the right. I didn't think they were. So one of the things I am working on too is I'm trying to make this more, I guess, stock. I haven't done much, if anything, in the way of upgrades. I have a few in mind already, that I think will help it out. Nothing crazy. Well, nothing too crazy. I have printed the faceplate off. Still, it was with the green that I bought. It looks pretty good, but you know, the quality of the prints weren't the greatest. I didn't have a cooling fan on it, so it could be better. I may reprint that. I don't know. But one of the things that, so like with pulling this off, this twists a little bit. It shouldn't be a big deal. It is held together pretty strongly. But what I think I'm going to do, once I've got the review done, one of the upgrades I'm going to do is put some more corner pieces on. Probably especially on the top. I could put one more under here, one more across here, and I've got a whole bag of them here. They're not too expensive from AliExpress. If you buy them if you're an American, you buy them here. They actually are pretty expensive though, which kind of is a bummer. Okay, so now I get to unwrap all of this. Isn't that exciting? As you can tell, I love wrapping these things. I love this. It's a little better than on my tarantula, which has a different style that has a split down it that is, you would think it would be easier, but it's a real pain in the butt. And that actually I'm still debating. I bought it. I don't know if I'm going to use it. I've got here, let me go grab it. If I can reach it with my mic cable, yeah. Come on. Who's like me and has a build room full of crap everywhere? Anyhow, I bought this. Still debating if I'm going to use it. Run the cables through it. I think it'd look really good. But I don't have. To do that, I'd really like to be able to unplug them on both sides instead of running them all through that. Because it's been my experience that you need to pull cables out, reroute things. And that's a more permanent solution. So it might be something I do down the road. But then I get into the issue there of, well, it's built, it's working, don't mess with it. So I don't know for sure if I'm going to do that. I definitely think it would make it look really good. The colors match perfect, black and green. So and the idea is not my own. I saw it in the East 3D Facebook group. Somebody was showing it off. Looked really good, so that's why I went and found some. It's pretty expensive stuff. I could always just cut some pieces off to run through this. Then you're not running through the whole thing. I may end up doing that too. I don't know. I thought about doing all of this beforehand, but I figured everybody's been through this experience with me. I should just show all of it. There isn't really much I've done on this build that wasn't on video. There were some issues with the hot end. I fixed those offline because that was just a pain in my butt. Now I know some tricks on doing it. One of the biggest issues I ran into is I couldn't get that stupid hot end throat to seat properly. So what I discovered, my vice grips with this piece here, how it's not flat, it's got this gap. It actually will reach around the throat and allow me to grab onto the throat with this part and squeeze and push it in without getting the plastic on the side also mixed up in that. It actually worked out pretty darn good, pretty well. So I was happy with that. Okay, so now that we've got all of this cleared, now we need to flip this over so I can get to the wires inside. Okay, so my wires all come here. So the white one goes here. I'll have to get some pictures of the inside. It's not the prettiest in here. Had some issues with it, how it's all set up. Let's see, the in-stop. So inside's not quite as pretty as the outside is. And doesn't look horrible, it's just not quite as pretty. Okay, and the hot end is free. Let's see here. Still debating on how best to take this apart. Ow. Okay. So, actually, I probably should undo those these wires as well. While I'm at it. Okay, so this one will be easy because it's the one and only motor that's not hooked up anymore. And these wires here. And I've got some cable. Okay, actually, I see what's going on here. This is wrapped up in another cable bunch under here. One of the issues I just ran into is trying to keep the pieces up under this flat part here. There's not. Let's see if you can see. So up under here, there's a gap, a couple inch gap right here between the bottom of the board and the bottom of the unit. One of the issues I run into is that when I'm moving this around, these cables come up under here, and I was trying to figure out ways to stick them. They give you some sticky stuff here to put them in place. Doesn't stick that well. The pieces keep unsticking. So good idea. It doesn't really work that well. So basically, I'm trying to keep stuff up as best I can. It did stick pretty good here, though. This is a looser connection. So yeah, so let's get. So now I've got all the pieces unplugged here. Let's get it all taken apart now. Here's all the cooling. Get it pulled off. Let's see here. Sorry, just trying to get things a little cleaner here. So I think what I'm going to start off with is put these here. So that's held in place. I'm going to take this off first. That's a little small. That's what I'm with. Yeah, that's even smaller. Okay, I think I have one in the middle that I'm missing. Don't you hate it when you think you've got all your hex screws here and realize you're missing one? Oh, wait. Maybe I just put it under stuff. That's what I did. I put it under stuff. Okay. One side is done. I'm going to need these off, so I will unscrew. Oops. Unscrew that. See, this is what I was talking about with cables coming up under this. Let's go around here. And we'll pull this one off. Okay, so the belts are off the sides. Actually, let's put these back in so that they don't get lost. There we go. Okay. Now, this is going to be a lot of work to get off. Thinking if I remove these, I should be able to, maybe if I remove the wheels on this, on one end or the other, then I think I could pull this whole unit out. That might be a little easier overall. Now that I'm looking at this, instead of rebuilding, these look identical to me. Except for the color. The color is definitely different. I'm going to take one off and just see for sure. I'll try to take one off. I don't know how easy these are going to be to come off. I remember they're kind of a pain to get on. Actually, no, I think I'm going to do it the way I started. Whoops. That makes life more difficult. And always good to have things to put stuff in. Keep it all together. Go ahead and just butterfingers here. So I knocked something on the floor already. I heard it hit. There it is. These little flat washers for these. Try to keep it together a little easier. There we go. So that's one side done. Let's get this side. I'm hoping once this is done, these will come out pretty easy. I was worried about that. Okay. As everything goes flying off. Okay. Suppose I could have unplugged those to begin with. Oh, I've got a Z stop on here. Or Y, actually. I actually have Y and X. But the X is already unplugged. I hate these in-stop screws. They're always so itty-bitty washers. Big beefy hands like mine, actually, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Oh, that is tight. There we go. There we go. Jeez. Probably just a little tight down the, going down the, through the end stop. Thankfully, this side does not seem to be quite as tight. And I may have spoke too soon. Oops, wrong way. Definitely not as tight, but it's not loose either. There we go. Okay. Kind of wondering how much of this I can get off in chunks and get away with cheating a little. Like, one of the things I'm wondering about is this whole assembly, if I could pop it off. I'm thinking there's a very good chance that would work. No, I was right the first time. Okay, so let's get these out of here. And 2 more belts off. Okay. Since I'm here, I think I'll pull this off. This is the Y, or the Z stop. Whoops, and then with the other C clamp. That was brilliant. Okay. Huh. That could have been cinched down just a little bit better. So something I noticed in the instructions after I had put this together, this is not on the video, on the previous videos. And I did put in my build notes though, so it is online. If you look, the teeth are on the opposite side. Didn't realize it when I was originally putting it together that they need to be that they need to be on separate, or one's on the top, one's on the bottom. I had put them both on the top. So that was a fun little one. I don't know how much that matters. It probably makes it smoother and such, but just key little things. Just look at the color coding. It's not always easy to understand what's meant, unfortunately, but I think that's one of the nice things about these build videos is that you can kind of collaborate a little bit, even if it's, not direct collaboration. You can, as I've gone along, I've attempted to to make sure everything was done right. I've looked at other people's videos, how their printers are put together. I've actually looked over the instructions a few different times, just because, you know, since I'm doing these build videos, I want you guys to, you know, I don't want to do something that, or I don't want to say something or do something that is wrong, and not rectify it. So yeah, so that was a fairly minor thing that I fixed. Yeah, so like I said, what I was thinking about doing is if I can pull this whole bottom piece off, I can mount the stabilizer on it. Whoops, getting the motors off. And I wonder if I can just pull that whole assembly off. The issue that I could see is that there's a lot of moving parts there that need to move together, and that could cause a problem. Kind of like these stepping motors. I think they seem to be pretty solid. Since most of my experience is coming from TiVo Tarantula, I'm used to a little bit of substandard parts out of the box. So it's kind of nice seeing nice parts out of the box. Just like nice clean machine work done here. It's just kind of cleaner all around. There we go. Whoa. A couple more wheels off. Come on. That's it. At least I saw where the washer went. Sorry about all the grunting and grunting here. I think I need to print up some of those trays that Chuck did on chip 3D printing. Goes along the edge there, and it certainly saved me a lot of drops. As I'm sure you guys can attest to that have watched any length of time. It's easier to get off with this. And all the wheels are off. So this basically leaves two rails that need to come off. So I'm going to try this. I don't know how smart this is going to be, but I'm going to try it anyways. So this gets mounted. How does it get mounted? Oh, I can see. Because if it went that way, we go on the slider. So it has to go this way to not be on the slider. Give me 1 second here. I should have had the old deal over here already. Should have left it clear over here. I'm going to move this light just a little bit. So one thing I did not notice until after I was done with this, it actually has all the different screws actually listed. So so this is telling me to get an M3 by 12 screw, and I can see that the ones that were on this are not M3 by 12, they're probably M3 by 8s. Yep. So that actually kind of makes things a little simpler. So I'll pull these out. Okay, so now hopefully this is the right box. Open item. Yeah, I'll use this bag. So what this is a little bubble leveler, so that we can tell how level we are. Just nice of them to add that. It may be in the future worth getting some. If you're because I'm into photography, I know that they make bubble ones that you could put like on different sides. so you can have a little bit better idea of how even you are. That's fairly simple. I have that on one of my tripods so that I can make sure I'm set up correctly. Okay, so now this goes like so. That goes like so. Sure. Yeah. Okay, I seriously did not think that would go that easily. I lucked out. Oh yeah, that's now, that is one stable thing there. That's gonna be completely locked into place. I'm not gonna get any wobble from that, I don't think. Okay. No, I love it when screws hit the floor and no idea what happened to them. Figured it would have landed right under me. I felt it. There it is. Wow, it really bounced. Okay. Here's some parts that he 3D printed and sent to us. It's I forget what it is. I've actually seen. I actually have it saved somewhere in my 3D East 3D folders. I've actually created an East 3D Thingiverse collection too. There's only a few things on it right now. There's a fan duct that I tried printing and had some issues with. And some other stuff. Might be worth looking into, when after you've got yours together. And I still need to clean it up, or I need to find some more stuff. There's only a few things in it right now, so it's a little on the weak side. at the moment. There we go. I'll leave those two on until I'm done over here. I don't think I was really paying close attention last time, or I lost some screws. One of the two. I have to look around. See, how can these stupid screws jump so far on carpeting? It should just go straight down. Actually, that was a nut, not a screw. Still, holds true. I could feel it hit right next to my foot, and it jumped about probably that far. I just don't get it. Oops. Okay. This is kind of a pain in the butt, isn't it? There we go. The old one is now off. And we're ready to move to the new one. Okay. So now let's figure out which way is on top. Or is it the same on either side? I don't think it is. No, there's two on this side, one on that side. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, and I very well could be, I think it's supposed to go this way. Because this is the Y end stop. So there's those. This is the part that's that. That's got to be the Y end stop, and that's the Y end stop there. Okay. There's that. And here's this one. Okay, now let's flip this around. This way. Wow, that was lucky. That almost looked like I knew what I was doing. And one last one. Come on. There we go. And I was able to do this without the linear rails sliding off and creating all sorts of pain and suffering, which I'm very, very, very glad of. Okay. So that moves right there. That moves very freely there. I would say it almost feels like it moves better. Okay. Let's see here. Let's do that for the other side. Sorry about laughing. Just realized that here on Twitch, this is saying that the video is Destiny 2 Crucible. I think I need to fix that because this is actually putting together an East 3D upgrade. East 3D Gecko upgrade, I should say. Again, thank you, Che, for sending me this unit. It's definitely been a learning experience for me. It seems to be a phenomenal printer. God, it's just solid as I should say, pretty much solid as a rock. Did run into a few issues in building it. Was able to get through them. A lot of them I was able to research myself or just kind of work through it myself. But I also went to the forum, or I should say forums, the groups, the Facebook group, regularly for some help. Carrie Lee was a huge help to me. She kept me on track when I ran into some issues. She'd either tell me what I was doing wrong or create a video and show me what I was doing wrong. It really made life easier for me, how she was able to do that. And Shay has always just been available for questions or whatnot. He's very active on the Facebook group, which really makes, if you have some weird issues, it really makes getting things fixed quick and easy. Even when they had their last kind of vacation days, by all rights, he could have been gone and doing other stuff, but he was still pretty darn active. So that was really good of him. There we go. So there's that. Now, next, we got to put the wheelie things on. And now these go the rounded side forward. Like so. Ooh, these have better. These are much nicer. Holy cow. So one of the issues with the old stuff, with the other ones, is they're really tight. Not very good tolerance. So this one, this little gap in the middle is definitely slightly wider, and it just slides on where last time I was pounding on it to get it into place. And that's really not what you want. Let's see here. It's not actually showing these. Let me look at my old one. So they just go straight through. Okay. There's lock nuts now. Left and right side plate. Lifting platform. Sorry, just trying to go through in my head what I'm reading. So I think these are left and right plates. So I don't think that's what I want. This is, I think, what I want, but this doesn't have. So looks like I need to pull the screws off of this one, or the bolts, I should say. Huh. I realized I did part of these upside down. I guess that makes sense. How these were done. These are all done the same way, but one side is going to be flipped basically 180 degrees. So I showed you how easy that goes on. This is, well, that one actually comes off fairly easy, but they are fairly tight. I ended up, oh, and if you watch the videos, I ended up actually going through and spreading them using my, I think it was my Leatherman, or it might be this, to spread them a little bit, do a little more of a gap in there, because yeah, you can see this doesn't have the screw in. It's pretty on there. It has nothing. That's just friction held. So yeah, that new one, at least the first new one I've tested, is pretty darn nice. Lots of room, which is really nice. It'll make adjusting this a lot better, since these wheels are what pushes against the channels and allows it to move smoothly. So it's little things like that I don't know. That's why I really like this East 3D Gecko. There's little things like that they really are paying attention to, and I don't know that other manufacturers are like that. And I'm not saying other manufacturers don't make great printers. I'm just saying that I appreciate the attention to detail that East 3D goes through and Che Chin goes through to getting this done. And several of these upgrades, there's another upgrade out there that he almost went to, but he didn't, which was using, I think it was like, I don't know what it was using. It was a different upgrade that he worked with a community member on. And, you know, if it's needed, it's out there. It's instead of using rollers, it uses the metal rods. I can't think what they're called offhand. But it's just basically it's just like another upgrade. It's not needed, was what was figured out, that this method works. But if you need something, I don't know if that adds more stability or not, but if it does and you need it, there are instructions on the Facebook group on how to do that too. That's a great thing about 3D printers is you can, at least these styles, you can upgrade them, you know, to get better performance or whatnot. That, you know, out of the box, these work basically, you know, I hate to say good enough, but that's, you know, what it is. They work good enough. And if you want to do something a little more, then you can do that. Okay, so I thought that I had 2 bags of these parts somewhere. Unless I just have the 1 bag, and that should have gone on the other end. No, those are those. And if I have this, I should have 1 more somewhere. No, there's not. That one's a little tighter, so I'm going to check this one over there. See if it's. This is the end. You can. You probably can't see, but there's actually 2. Instead of it being round holes, there's 2 slits, which would allow us to adjust the wheels on the 2 sides. So I'm going to see if this is looser down here. Yeah, it's a little looser down here. This one's a little tighter though. Actually, now I'm looking, I think there's a burr. That's, I think, why it's a little tighter. That's. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a burr cussing that, not a. Maybe not. It is a little tighter. Not as tight as they were, though. didn't have to get in there and spread the distance a little bit using the screwdriver. So there's definitely more play on this one, even though it's tighter than this one here. It still has a lot more play than the originals did. To admit, I kind of like the darker green anodizing of the previous version too. Kind of see the difference here, or here and here. I wouldn't say it's game changer by any means, and honestly, I think this is actually a little closer to my filament once it's printed, what it looks like. The new, but like I said, that one there is pure aesthetics. Has nothing to do with the printer itself. What did I do with the other piece? Okay, I'm gonna have to get up and look here. Now, since I'm gonna have a look at this really quick. Okay, good. I still have audio. Just want to make sure. Let's see. Aha, I see it. Don't know exactly how I missed it before, but hey, it's right there. So I've got to adjust the microphone cable a little bit. So that, yeah, see, that one's like the other one. It's a lot more free. So I'm thinking it was the burr on, I guess it's that one side. Just cinch that up a touch. And now let's let's put the wheels on. I was debating if I should try to put it in first, then put the wheels on, but I think we'd be better off putting the wheels in and then putting that back on. And then from there, I could put the other parts together. So it's way too big. Oh, there it is. Put this on top of it, figures. These be cinched down pretty tight and the wheels move freely, so. Are the wheels on the right side? Am I doing this right? Yeah, they're supposed to be on the inside. Okay, good. Did you hate that sinking feeling in your gut where you're like, oh crap, am I doing this right? But by making sure you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it a second time. So it's always good when you get that sinking feeling. Check, make sure your things are actually right. Oh, so if anybody's out there has a Hulu account, just watched the first 2 episodes of Future Man last night. It's a pretty funny show. Highly recommend it. Definitely. My wife was looking at it, said that Seth Rogen is a part of it. I could definitely see some of his humor in it. And it had some pretty funny pieces. This second episode or the first, I don't know. It was definitely some homages to different movies. There was one shot of him dancing that, if you have any concept of what's it called, of watching pop culture movies at all, you'll recognize that scene was taken from another movie and was making fun of the other movie and how it was done. I thought it was done very well. And I don't think that anybody watching the movie will ever view Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man the same ever again. Or the Mario Brothers, It's definitely a game, it definitely helps if you're a gamer to understand some of the jokes, at least early on. Since I've only seen 2 episodes, I think that it's I'm thinking, I haven't seen all the humor, but there's a few, like gamer humor I've noticed. It's pretty good. It's the only one I've cinched up, and it doesn't roll exactly freely. I don't think it's that bad, though, so I'm going to call it good. Okay, so now for these. Again, check the direction that's pointing. Oops. The connector, that is. Check the direction the connector's pointing, because that is important. My first ever printer build, on my first printer, I had paid attention to it most of the way, but I still assembled it with the connector on the Y facing downward into the table. Didn't work. Just wouldn't work that way. Big surprise, huh? So, learn from my mistakes. Like I said, I had originally, put it together, so to speak, with the Y motor facing another direction than straight down. But when I actually put it all together, I wasn't paying as close attention to it, and I turned it, I think, one facing, and didn't really pay attention to that. So I was going to put these on after I put it in, but I think it might be a little easier to get these on here. I think it'll make it a little more difficult to get it in, but I think ultimately this will be a little easier to do it this way. this is. I can't see if anybody's chatting with me. Biggest problem with doing all this, I only have my laptop here, and I kind of need multiple windows. Let's see if I shrink this down. There we go. So now I can see the window, and I can see if anybody's chatting with me. See what's going on in the deal. And this is just, this setup's just OBS Studio. I've got my Canon 60D I'm using as a webcam with my, I think it's a 10 to 16 millimeter wide angle. I think I'm running right around 10 millimeters. Then the webcam for me is on my computer. I just picked up a GoPro, and I went to hook it up today because I hadn't really done before. And in looking, I realized that it, unfortunately, does not make a very good webcam. It's not designed very well for that. So I'm going to need, so to use it, I'll have to use a capture card. Though if I make any pre-built videos, I can just record directly onto the GoPro itself and then put that in my computer and put it all together. Let's see here. So I think I actually need my old instructions to really put this together. Which I've got, I don't know how much, but I've got a lot of them printed out here. I'll try this. Hopefully this is good enough that I don't need my color instructions that it came with. So it came with the 1.0 instructions, and they're okay. There are a couple issues, so then they came out with these instructions. Unfortunately, there's no page numbers. So as I was taking it all apart, or going through it all, this has become a complete disaster. I think this is all printing. Okay. Yeah, see, this is where I wish I had the color instructions. I'm not sure which one goes where. Well, actually, come to think of it, I know these. I guess I just kind of over examining this. These go the same way because they're identical. I'm just looking at some stuff really quick here. Maybe, let's see, I'm trying to, so what I'm looking at here is the Y, the Z-stop, screw goes right here, And on my old setup, it was set up like this. It looks, but okay, so no. Yeah, no, wait a second. So those are on the same side. So this is, it would have had to have been this way. I really hope I don't have to take everything apart. That would suck. When I was trying to put it together, I was trying to look out for things like this, specifically things like this. Well, yeah, I think if I flip it over, it would all work. Darn it. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, actually, I was going to change this, wasn't I? There we go. So this is saying I'm streaming Destiny, but it shouldn't be. Does it not allow me to change on the fly? Sorry about this. I'm just realizing that it's just not it's not reflecting what I'm actually doing, and it's not letting me. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it finally updated. That was weird. So there we go. Now people can actually see what I'm actually working on instead of what I'm not working on, or what I'm not playing, because I'm not playing Destiny. Let's see. Actually using the channel as I kind of had planned it to be, a live stream channel for my 3D printing builds. Okay, motors are off. Now I need to move the gantry. Actually, I need to move everything here too. Thankfully, the one nice thing about, or the one okay thing is that the wheels basically remain the same no matter which way I do this. So. Okay, now let's go to the other side and repeat. Crap. Hey, but on the plus side, that one fell straight down. Okay. Hey, how's it going? I have two printers. This one, and then I've got a TiVo Tarantula over there. So this is the TiVo was my first one, and kind of got me into this craziness, and started a website for it because they're an okay beginner printer. They're actually a pretty nice beginner printer because you have to learn a lot with them. I don't think I could have accomplished what I have with this printer without that experience first. But I do think you can kind of outgrow it. I do have some major upgrade parts. The Perry Posthorn, he creates aluminum parts for the TiVo Tarantulas, and he is sending me out aluminum parts for it, and that should make that printer print a lot nicer than what it does. It prints pretty good right now, but should even get better. And this will be that'll be, I'm hoping, the next weekend's build project for 3D printing. Okay, flip this over. What do I print? I print all sorts of stuff. The primary thing I print is gaming terrain for my miniatures games and D&D Pathfinder type. What's it called? The tiles, kind of like if you've ever seen Dwarven Forge, you can print your own. That's primarily what I use it for, but then there's all sorts of other things you can do with it too. I've got a teleprompting kit right up there that I've put together or that I've printed. I need to get a couple more screws to finish it all off, but haven't needed a teleprompter lately. I wish I had this when I was doing my college work, since I actually did do a lot of stuff recorded and sent to the professors and such. It would have been nice to have a teleprompter when I was doing that, especially for my final, my MBA. Let's see. My daughter's kind of getting into she likes to make slime, and she's kind of started a channel to making slime. So I've made her some camera mounts so she can do that. Oh, and she also really liked doing Musical.ly. So some mounts for her camera, her cell phone for Musical.ly. And that's one of my plans too is... okay, I completely screwed this side up. I've got a GoPro now. I just picked up from a friend of mine. I'm going to print out some stuff like holders for that, cases, and I've got some mounts and some camera mounts that I've used, or the camera mounts I created for my daughter. I've created a set for myself, and go to find out they are GoPro compatible. He basically just used the GoPro, the 2 and 3 slice parts to get them all to hook together, because it is a good way of doing things. And because he did it that way, all of those are eminently compatible to a standard GoPro case. And then I've done other things, like I printed my wife's Mother's Day present, which was a really nice looking little statuette. She really liked. I've printed a planter for my wife as well that she took to plant to work with. It's a self-watering type setup. It's actually kind of cool idea. That one I downloaded from Thingiverse. I want to get into making some props eventually, like gaming props. Though I haven't seen a disc fuser, unfortunately. That'd be kind of cool. But like Destiny and Overwatch and more modern games, you see what they have, and a lot of those there's models for the different guns and stuff, which is kind of cool, or the swords or whatever. It's pretty cool. And on the terrain side of things, if you're a war gamer, generally you war game with other people. So I'm the only one that's got a 3D printer. And people have asked numerous times for me to build them terrain. So even with 2 printers going full time, I think between me and my friends, just terrain alone, I've got 6 months or more of backlog of stuff I want to do. 3D printers aren't magical, but they are pretty cool what they can do. I really wish I would quit dropping things. It would definitely make my life easier. So have you been up to, Ryan? Haven't really talked to you in a while. Oh yeah, you can download most models. So Ryan's asking do I download most models? 3D printer would be neat, but not sure I have the time to model. Yeah, I really know nothing about modeling. I've installed Fusion 360. I've gone to one of our makerspaces in town, Up Makerspace, had a seminar on it, went to that, and even after that, I still had no idea what I was doing. So, yeah, I really know almost nothing about, or have almost no skills in the modeling. If you go to a website called Thingiverse, ThingiVerse.com, there is a huge amount of things you can download and print for free. On the wargaming side, you can actually purchase a bunch of different ones. There's been a lot of Kickstarters that a lot of them come from. Some of the ones I own are Warlayer, which is pretty cool, especially with the upcoming Necromunda war game coming out. His train is going to be awesome for that. Worlds Overrun, that's another one I have. That one also will have some really cool Necromunda terrain, especially with some like what's it called? Tyrannid bugs. And then Star Wars Legion is coming out soon. I have one more. I have a feeling I'm losing screws here, or losing bolts. This little. Oh wait, here we go. Let's see, I thought I had one more. Yeah, sorry, as I was saying, Imperial, Star Wars Legion is a new miniatures game coming out from Fantasy Flight, and one of the big makers for that terrain is Imperial Terrain. That's why I keep saying Imperial. Very cool Star Wars-esque terrain, and Terrain for Prince, another guy that I've backed a Kickstarter for. In addition to his Kickstarter, he now has moved over to Patreon, and his newer stuff he's releasing free, and he's released basically a number of desert dwelling modular buildings that would basically be perfect for Star Wars. I think that's the whole idea behind them is they're basically built for Star Wars. He's got some other stuff like a downed spacecraft. In his update for backers yesterday, he was talking about, I believe, hills. I haven't actually looked at it yet, but in the image it's got hills, and I know that he's talked a little bit about that before. So that's actually going to be kind of cool to because there's not a lot of terrain like that. Most of the terrain you see for 3D that's 3D printed is like scatter terrain, so buildings or ruins or just something to block line of sight, which is what makes through war games kind of interesting, getting around the terrain and stuff. But in the way of hills and stuff, that's generally been the purview of cutting up foam still. I'm curious how well it's going to work out. Mainly because you could end up putting a lot of plastic in to create to get that. Like most of tons of the stuff that I print for terrain only cost me a couple dollars in plastics, $1 or $2. I'd say probably most of what I print, and there's some fairly large stuff, is only a couple of dollars, and the biggest stuff is you're still looking at not that much money. The biggest, again, I'll go back to Worlds Overrun. He's got this giant maw that I think takes at least 1 kilogram of material, if not more. So that's actually pretty amazing. But yeah, you can kind of keep the cost down by doing that, especially for war games. But I'm kind of curious how hills and terrain like that will work out, since I believe because it would take more material. I've discussed with other people, other designers about. Sorry, I'm just making sure this all looks right. Other designers about building full terrain, like streets and everything. And it's a cool concept, but you start kind of getting into a large amount of expenses in building all that. Z1, is it Z1 Games? It's Z1 something. I think it's Z1 Games. They actually have streets, and you can actually build a wharf and ships. What's it called? Trains with tracks and what's it called? Subway stations, not really trains, but subway stations and all this stuff. It's actually pretty slick. You could build a fairly robust city with the Z1 materials alone. But yeah, so like I said, if you're looking to download the models, Thingiverse is generally my first place to go. There's a model search engine called, I think it's Yeggi, Yeggi. And then there's another site. It's like my something that I use. I don't use it nearly as much. Thingiverse is kind of my favorite just because it's simple. The other ones I think a little nicer. And if you find something that is really useful for you, you can always spend a little bit of money and tip the designer, pay back their time because they're releasing it for free. And along with all the free stuff, you can actually grab stuff for, stuff that you need that you can pay for as well. Some people sell parts. So with the 2 dots, looks like that. So one of the issues, like I was saying much earlier in this, you want to have these facing the right direction, and that's why since I'm not sure where my original instructions, I just have the updated instructions. The updated instructions I printed in black and white. I didn't print them in color. And you kind of need the color part to tell which way these go. So I'm kind of guessing on this one that these go this direction. So Ryan, do I have you tucked into a 3D printer now? Looked at the Thingiverse and seen all the cool stuff you can do? I don't play I tend to play PC games still, less Xbox. This this laptop's my gaming laptop. Works out, whoops, you know what? This is upside down. It works pretty well. I'm happy with it. Starting to show its age. I'm hoping to get a new job somewhat soon. Use my new degree that I got at the end of last year. And then hopefully I'll make some extra money, enough to be able to afford a new computer, new laptop. Let's see here. So I think that's all right. And then I just realized I probably should have paid attention to my belts when I threw them up here. I'm assuming there's going to be different lengths. I'm going to hope that the shorter version let's see. So here's one of those good warning things. Pay attention to what, what's it called? What belt you pull off, because I'm not entirely sure which belt I need, the shorter one or the longer one. So now I need to find instructions on running the belts. I understand about consoles being easier, but man, I just don't like console controllers. I would much rather use a mouse and keyboard to play first-person shooter. Let's see here. So it looks like. Actually, I think it might be the longer ones now that I'm looking at how the edges are. Let's try. Okay, so these are the short ones. I'll leave those back here. Move the bigger ones over here. Okay. So let's actually go with the bottom first. Okay, so that's a problem. So here's the issue. You can see this has these here. This bottom one means that it has to go, or I'm pretty sure, I don't know about has to go, but I'm pretty sure it goes this direction. So I want the teeth on the bottom on this one, which means I want the teeth on the top on this one. Oh, and the other nice thing about a laptop, I can bring it up here and play my video games up here in my my studio, and my wife and daughter can watch TV shows downstairs on the big TV. Otherwise, I take over the big TV, and I think my wife would really appreciate that. Okay, so this should go around the bottom. So just to check it out, I'm going to see what one of the smaller ones would do. So this is the smaller version, or the shorter version, I should say. I'm just curious if it will work as well. No. So yeah, so it's definitely this Gantry has the longer versions. Ah, crap. Okay. Okay. They shouldn't need constant calibration. My tarantula needs to be let's see. Let me take a step back. The cheaper ones or the more inexpensive ones do require a little bit more maintenance for calibration. This particular printer has had some rework done on it, and the guy who sells them has basically just redone this entire printer. This part of the printer. This is what it basically, you can't really tell the difference, but this is kind of what it used to look like. But it's only got this one notch. The new one actually has, you can see down here, these two notches, and that's where these go, where these will move, and there'll be two, and that'll help keep it level. Once I have this installed and set up and calibrated, I shouldn't really have to calibrate it that often. I may have to re-level the bed from time to time just to make sure it's working okay, or it's all level. But other than that, they pretty much, once they start working, they work. Even my Tarantula, which is a very inexpensive printer, I'd go 2-3 weeks of fairly constant printing. Usually for me, fairly constant printing is usually a print job that I start in the morning before I go to work, make sure it's all working, and then go to work. Print job after I get home in the evening, and then one when I go to bed. I try to run a shorter print job in the evening so that it's done before I go to bed, so that I can actually get 3 done, and then I run longer ones. Are you talking like an inkjet printer? That your regular printer, every time you print, you have to clean the heads? Because inkjets are kind of famous for that. I have a laser jet for 2D, for a regular printer, and yeah, I don't have to worry about that often. So trying to get this up in here is kind of a pain in the ass. Whoops, I didn't mean to say that. Kind of pain in the butt. Okay, let's loosen this one a little bit. And screw that back in there. There we go. That should give me a little more play on this one. Yeah, but I was going to say, with inkjets, if you don't use them fairly constantly, yeah, you have to clear those stupid print heads, which is pretty much a royal pain in the butt, plus a major expense. So with these, in general, you don't have to worry about that. If you're printing fairly constant, they're going to stay. They're going to stay. That your filament will stay pretty fresh. It stays in a sealed bag. If it sits out for a long period of time, they can, especially up in your area, they can get moisture in the filament, and that can cause problems. But I know people up in that area, some of some of the most famous 3D printers, like what's his face, 3D printing nerd and Barnacules both live up there. They don't have any major issues with filament, as far as I could tell. You know, you have to be a little due diligent with your print, or with your filament. But even then, if it gets the high humidity gets into it, you can always put it in a dehumidifier or an oven at a very low rate. There's some. I actually saw yesterday, the day before, somebody posted a like an infograph, and it showed all the different printing, or it showed different materials, different printing materials, and how long they should stay in. You know what? I did this backwards. How long they should stay in, and at what temperature to remove the moisture so they can print better. You honestly, yes, that is one of the issues with 3D printing, is that they do have some issues. This backwards. They do have some issues with failing. That's one of the reasons I'm really hopeful for this printer, because this is what's called a Core XY, and they're very, very stable, so there's less chance for problems. They are more complex. As you can see, there's this really long belt here that actually makes it a little more complex in and of itself. But on the flip side, even with the complexity, it's a stronger printer. The what's it called? The structure stuff is a lot stronger, so you're less likely to run into structural issues. And then there's the new printer by Prusus. Their new 3D printer, which is coming out, they're saying in January now, is I think when they're shipping. Those printers actually have the ability to tell if your filament runs out, if you have a power outage, they'll recover from a power outage. If a layer skips, one of the issues is like you're printing and then like your print head will snag or whatever, so you get what's called a layer shift when it's doing that. It'll detect those and recover from those. I want to say there's like one other recovery, but yeah, it's very good at recovering from failures, so you're less likely to have a wasted, several hour print job or, several day print job. You're less likely to have those fail out like that, which is going to be a good thing. Thankfully, it seems like most prints, though, if they're going to fail, tend to fail in the first couple of layers. So if you're watching your printer, you can usually tell when it fails. It's the ones that go later. Those are kind of a pain in the butt because, you're already deep into it. You've already wasted all that filament. And trust me, I've seen print jobs by people fail after like 2 days of printing fairly large, complex things. That sucks. That royally sucks. But as of now, it still is kind of a necessary evil that is part of 3D printing. It's definitely one of the things that has to be fixed, I think, going forward to truly bring 3D printing into the mainstream. And I think once reliability goes up, I think that's going to be a big fix. So let's see here. I have a rat's nest of cables. So let's see if this will fit. Like I hope it will. Okay. No, I think that's going to work. I think I have to pull the wheels off. Okay. So if you're trying to do this like me, looks like you can't cheat. Looks like you have to put the wheels on while they're on here. Drop the the washer here. Really hoping that this works out. Wow. That did not want to give me access to it at all to get to it. So let's see if I have any hope of just 4 being removed. If I get, good, I can't get in the track. Let's get this. That's not going to work that way. We'll put it on the C's. There we go. just need to get a couple of these in here so it'll stay up. Yeah, give me 1 second here. I'm gonna mute for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Wife and the daughter just got back from a movie. They went and watched Wonder. Yeah, Ryan, these are a lot of fun. It's a really cool little hobby. And there's all sorts of little projects you can get, like photography actually has a lot of stuff. One of the things I'm going to do, the buddy that I bought the GoPro from, he actually gave me a pretty freaking amazing deal. I'm going to print up I'm going to print two, one for him, one for me. What are they called? A wire harness that you hook your camera onto, and then you run it down and then you can run it down a rope, and it will it creates some really, really, really beautiful shots when you do that. They're very, very, and they can be very, very clean shots. So there's things like that for stuff that you're into, like with consoles. You can build holders for the, what are they called, for the controllers. You can like if you have a Switch, the Nintendo Switch, there's all sorts of like upgrade components for those. There's a lot of stuff you can actually do with 3D printing. It's really nice. So, okay, glad to see that's moving fairly well. Okay, these should be high enough. I don't want that to be hitting the bed. That's the reason why I'm trying to get them up a little bit. But now I can adjust these. Okay, so yeah, if you've got a Switch, and yeah, you can see some of that stuff. You can see a lot of the cool stuff that you can do with it. I almost think the Switch probably has more cool stuff for it because of the nature of it. Like I've seen a lot of stuff that kind of. I'm a little surprised that Nintendo didn't do it themselves. It almost seems like an incomplete product to me because of some of the stuff that you can in 3D print to make it look better or to work better. So there we go. So let's make sure. Check and see that all my wheels are rolling. This one is not. So let's let's do one other thing here. Make sure we're even. Okay. Just to be a little higher. I'm sure a lot of this can be will end up being adjusted with the belts too. There we go. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to call this for now because I need to go and rent a car. We're going to, or at least start the rental process. We're going to drive down to the in-laws' house. We need a bigger car to grab some stuff. So that's what I get to do for the next probably hour or two. And then hopefully I can get back and finish this up. I still have to put the new plates on the sides here. Get that all together, and then get the new belts installed. Here's the new belts. So supposedly the other ones, I guess, are like the normal rubber belts. These are like steel banded. They're a higher quality belt compared to what the previous ones were. So like I said, for a free upgrade, there's a lot of money that East 3D put into these to make them better. So I'm pretty happy. So watch for the next video. I'm hoping to actually do it tonight, possibly tomorrow, because I really would like to get this printer printing. I haven't 3D printed anything in a while because I'm going to be upgrading that one, and it's down. I haven't really gotten around to doing anything on it. And then this one, I've been waiting for the upgrades. So thanks for stopping by. Oh, fun with the hinges. That is never fun. So you take care. Nice talking to you, Ryan. Haven't seen you in a long time. And whoever else ends up watching this later down the line, hope that this helps. And now you know not to assemble all the wheels when you put it together. You could put four on one side and then do the others. But yeah, it's coming along pretty well.